Hey guys! So this is another video that has to do with Arrtx acrylic markers. So they reached out to me again and asked me if I would like to try out their Simtap line of Arrtx acrylic markers. And this line is a bit different because it does have like a pump function. I can't say that. A pump function. And so it's a little bit different from the Arrtx markers that I know and am used to. And so I'm really excited to try these out. They gave me the 48 color set, and it's really cute so far. I'm super excited to give it a whirl because it's been sitting on my desk and I'm really excited to get into it. But without further ado, I'm gonna break into these and see what these are all about. All right, let's go. Okay, so let's just start with this. Oh, the box is like kind of glittery. That's cute. If you can't see, it's kind of a cool little box here. Oh, also, surprise, they also sent me their sketchbook. I personally am biased towards like smoother papers. And so this might not be like smoother, but so I'm gonna give it like the full benefit of the doubt, knowing that I'm biased for smooth paper. But I do know what nice paper feels like, even if it's not super smooth. So I'm gonna have to rip this. I'm gonna have to rip this one. Oh, interesting. So it's like detached from the actual like sketchbook thing. Here, what's this? The exposed binding is a special design for easily laying flat during painting. This is not a damaging phenomenon. You can paint on both sides of the paper. Oh, cool. Folder in here. You can keep stuff like stickers and extra paper and whatnot. I like that a lot because I like to kind of scrapbook in my sketchbooks too. It's definitely very textured, but it is very thick and textured in a way that I could see these working really well for colored pencils. Ooh. Oh, pretty. This is a beautiful sight. Ooh, okay. Very interesting design. Good, it has instructions. I would have no idea how to use this. Shake well, press top of marker body, and then start using, recap tightly after use. So this is like the pump mechanism, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna have to activate all of these, but this looks fun. This looks nice. Yeah, these are brush markers. And so I've not seen like a pump acrylic marker that has a brush. So I'm very interested in how this is gonna work. Okay, I have my Mosseri notebook, which I really do like. So I hope these don't bleed. We will see. They shouldn't. They definitely shouldn't, but I'm gonna be using this to prop up the paper a little bit. Go ahead and start activating these. Hey guys, so it's been a while since I have recorded anything recently because I have been moving. Yeah. I've had a lot going on recently and I'm still kind of living around boxes, but good things, and you know, some bad things, but ain't that just the way? But I'm glad that I could find the time to do this in the midst of it. But yeah, so I have really enjoyed these markers, I will say. I'm not gonna be able to talk for much longer because I'm gonna have my little first impression after I get this one to start. But I will come back soon and talk about it more. So it definitely gets darker as it dries. The dark colors might get lighter as they dry too. It kind of is feeling a bit like a gouache in that sense. It also could have to do with the paper because I'm using paper I'm not used to. But as far as the coverage and flow is concerned, great. Also, these have little caps to keep them from being like squished in like pencil cases and stuff, which is really smart, definitely needed. and the actual pump is very potent. So you do not have to pump it too many times before you get a lot of ink out, which is nice. Okay, so yeah, life has just been kind of hectic recently. And so I am glad to be making YouTube videos again because it's something that I think really calms me. It makes me feel kind of accomplished, but in like a good way. It's not like I'm feeling like if I'm not accomplished, then I'm doing something wrong, you know? Like I feel like I am actually doing something for myself and for like to have like a community and people to talk to about art and stuff, which is really cool. And I mean, I'm in animation school, so I have tons of people to talk to about art. But I feel like it's different when it's like my own personal art that doesn't have like anything attached to it. It's just whatever I want to draw in the moment. And so yeah, the paper actually did surprise me. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is. It's not, of course, like the best paper I've ever experienced in my life, but it is better than I expected. The paint really sat well on top of it. It didn't like warp as much as I expected it to. And it's not like too porous, which was nice. Sometimes paper is just like that way. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. These two are very similar, and so I could really use them interchangeably. And that's a big pet peeve that I have with some marker sets, is that when they advertise that they have more colors in the set, I really am expecting them to really have more colors and not have duplicates. And I know that they're not intended to be duplicates. They definitely are supposed to look different. But on paper, they don't necessarily look different. And so another couple are these two up here. I'm so sorry for like the massive shadow that my hand is casting, but these two right here are pretty much the exact same. And then these two are very similar. This one's just a little darker, which I don't mind that. But as far as the overall set, I really do like the amount of neutrals that they included in this one. They included a darker brown, which I really appreciate. I really needed one of those. Like the dark markers aren't necessarily super dark and the light markers aren't necessarily super light, minus these two. These two are pretty light. And so you're gonna get kind of a lot of midtones in this set, which is fine. But you're just not gonna get a whole lot of depth in your painting, even though I think that the darker color, like the darkest colors are these purples and these blues. There just aren't gonna be that many like colors that you can really shade with. But again, this is marketed towards a lot of different things, and you can use these on pretty much any surface. And so for more like graphic styles, or you're painting on things that typically wouldn't be painted on, these would probably work really well for that. Unfortunately, I also don't have anything to demo as far as painting on things I just technically shouldn't paint on, because I like all of my things the way that they are. Let's see the coverage. I'm honestly expecting the coverage of these to be basically the same as the other Arrtx markers. Oh, well, they might be better. What about this yellow over here? Okay, yeah, the yellow is basically the same as far as that goes. Yeah, I will say that because of the pump function, these do feel like they layer easier. I am going to go over to the front of the sketchbook, but I will use this page because using the left bit is kind of a nightmare because there's such a gap. I need to have like a piece of something that's going to be the perfect size and the perfect height for me to be using this page, because right now it's just kind of terrible. But this side is great. Once I get farther into the middle of the sketchbook, it's going to be perfectly fine. It's just when I am on the two ends of the sketchbook, it's just gonna cause a bit of a problem. I am going to be drawing something and I will do time lapse. All right, bye-bye. Okay, so here I am drawing my characters Amber and Austin, because I've honestly been kind of obsessed with them lately. They're my knight and wizard couple, and they're part of my like little play off of the isekai genre, but I understand when I say isekai, people are probably like, oh, not again. I feel like the genre is a little overdone, just a little bit. But I wanted this to be, this is honestly such a unintentional isekai because I wasn't expecting it to turn into an isekai, but it kind of did. But it has more to it, I swear. It's not just an isekai. It has a lot more going on. But yeah, so basically what happens is that, like, the basic premise is that Austin, his wife, Amber, is run over by a truck and dies. And then in his sorrow, like, this is in like modern day normal life, and then in his sorrow he's like, anything, I'll do anything to get her back. And then this wizard creature guy, he's like super funny looking, shows up and is like, oh really, do you really want to get her back? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I guess I'm bored, so just like prove to me that your love is true, and then I'll bring her back to life for you. And he was like, okay. And then the wizard is like, you have to make her fall in love with you again in this other world, because this is where she is right now. And he's like, okay, that's easy, yeah, like, she's my wife, that's fine. And so he gets transported to this fantasy land, and he wakes up as a wizard, where in this world, like, wizards are kind of like another race almost, from the humans, and they live kind of separated out in the forests and little cottages and stuff, but they're kind of feared. They're not supposed to be feared. They're not actually like inherently dangerous or anything. It's just that, of course, cliche, they have abilities that humans do not possess. And so because of that, there have been a couple of wizards that have gone off the deep end and have created a lot of pain and torture and stuff. And so they've kind of been like stereotyped a little bit and banned from the kingdom, and the kingdom is kind of actively hunting them out. Whereas Amber now has lost all of her memories. She is the kingdom's like primary knight, so she is the one who's like next to the king and queen, and like she's the one that's running all of the stuff in that aspect. I know that that's not technically what a knight is, but knights are more fun, so that's what she is, and it's fantasy, so I can do what I want. So she is naturally really opposed to wizards. Like, she believes all of the rumors, all of the stuff about them. She thinks that they're terrible and that they're evil and they only ever want to like brainwash you and torture you. And so she's actively on the hunt to get rid of as many wizards as she can find. And so yeah, the little like stupid little wizard guy from the beginning kind of set Austin up for failure because he's bored and he wants to watch him fail, I guess, and he doesn't believe in love. And so he's like, love is fake, love doesn't exist. And so yeah, so Austin is like, has the card set against him, and he's like, how in the heck? But he knows that his wife of 5 years is truly like meant to be with him, and so, and like, he loves her so much that he's not willing to give her up. So he does his best, and then the story moves on from there. And I haven't written the majority of it, but I'm really excited about it. And yeah, I think it's really fun. Also, if you hear talking, that's my upstairs neighbors. The floors are paper thin, and so yeah. But anyway, so overall, the markers did well for these. I was actually surprised that they blended as well as they did, because I'm not used to acrylic markers really like blending at all. And so because these weren't so opaque just right off the bat, some of them were, but some of them started out a little bit transparent because I think that I didn't like shake them enough or something, and they kind of separated. But I sort of used that to my advantage and use that as kind of like an opacity thing in digital art, where I just use that to sort of blend the colors a little bit, which helped a lot with like the face and stuff. And I think it was super fun. And then if I really tried, I could shake them up enough to get them to come out opaque again. But I think that it was kind of fun to have the control over that. That's, I think, my favorite thing about these markers is that with the pump mechanism, you can control the flow of the ink so much better. And I can have a lot come out and like paint like a massive area, or I can just have a little bit come out and it be kind of like transparent. So I like it. I like it a lot. I think it was really fun. And so some of them definitely have different consistencies. They're not all the same, which I noticed in previous Arrtx marker sets, but I did have a lot of fun with these, and I think that these are definitely my favorite. And so I'm about to get to my final impressions of these, I believe, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye. Oh, also wait, thanks to Arrtx, I'm hosting a giveaway to these markers, and so if you want to win some of these markers, check out the description down below for the details. Hello, so this is final thoughts. Overall, as like a last thing, I really like these markers. I like them honestly a lot more than all of the other Arrtx markers I've tried, mainly because of the pump functionality and how that kind of lets me adjust like how much flow I want, which helped me in a lot of areas where like I could pump more flow for the larger areas so I didn't dry out the nib super fast. And also I was able to kind of use that in a way where I could kind of flood color together and almost in like a gouache watercolor way, and so that was really fun. But I have here my first set of Arrtx acrylic markers that I'm going to kind of try again and compare. I'm not going to make any art because I've been making art all day. But I'm just going to kind of grab a marker from this set and compare. Let's see. I think this is the one that's a similar color to this. And so these are definitely a lot simpler. They don't have a pump functionality, so they just kind of, you just kind of use them as they are. And I noticed that they can tend to be a little bit drier because of that, but honestly, they're not like dry, I guess you could say. Like, they don't feel dry. Most of them, at least. There have been some that I realized that with these markers, you can't like shake them up really to like fix the ink that's separated. I realized with the Simtap markers that the ink separates really fast, and having that like ball in there made it a lot easier to keep the ink consistent. And so as far as I know, these do not have that. And so I noticed sometimes that the ink is separated and there's really nothing I can do about it. Whereas with these, I have a lot more control over that. And so kind of don't mind this whole section. I know some of you guys are probably like, why did you do that? But I needed to make sure that the ink was folding correctly before I put it on the piece. And so I might like paste a piece of paper over that or something, or just use this page for like trash doodles, but we'll see. But this is the regular Arrtx markers. Also, as you can see, the nib for this is kind of frayed a bit. It's kind of doing this situation. It's very difficult to get like a much finer line with it. It just feels more feathery, which some people might like because it does kind of create a cool texture. But it's not necessarily my favorite thing for like my personal art. And so then this, it is a lot thicker, a lot more bold because I have so much more ink flow. And it could just be because they're new, but the nib feels nicer. I don't know. But I definitely just like the feel of the Simtap markers more. I do notice that I think that the Simtap markers change more when they dry. They get quite a bit lighter or darker depending on what like tone the marker is. Let's see, because I know that these do the same thing, just I haven't noticed to like as much of a level. Whereas these, you can probably tell on the speed paint, it's like pretty crazy how it changes while it dries. So you kind of have to take that into consideration while you're working with it. But overall, I'm gonna be very honest, I really do think that I like the Simtap markers more. But yeah, anyway, bye guys. See you guys next video. Yay.